All right, welcome, great souls. Always wonderful to be here. And continuing with the Yama portion of this every week. This week is the fifth Yama, which is Aparigraha. Aparigraha. And a lot of these yamas build on one another in terms of the yogic philosophy and ethical lifestyle. And Aparigraha is about non-greed, non-grasping, and the big one, non-attachment. The opposite of that would be letting go, learning to let go. And to me, with non-attachment, it's usually a process. I don't just go right to non-attachment, you know. there's that saying with Garfield, you know, he's got his claws on, you know, learning to let go. He's kind of like this, trying to learn to let go. And so for certain bigger things in our life, there's going to be more of a process. For the lesser things, it's going to be easier to let go. Probably we can agree on that. And so rather than do a discourse on it right now, I wanted to start in a mini Shavasana, because that is really about letting go and tensing, relaxing. But before we do that, I also wanted to bring in the question, the inquiry question, which came in, and you could contemplate this, is what is the difference between inner peace and joy? What is the difference between inner peace and joy? And what is the definition of true joy? So we will take that to the mat as well. Before we get into that, I'm just going to say a very quick what's come to, you know, as I inquired into this, is that peace is more of a kind of a belly thing, a contentment, kind of feeling, and joy is a deep welling that comes from within. That's more sparkling of the heart. Yogananda says it's joy is God, joy is goddess, joy is meditation. So that's a lot right there, but it's a really, they are distinct qualities. They're all qualities of the divine, both peace and joy, but they have a different essence to each of those. So let's start on our backs. And what's so great about learning to let go, in fact, we could do that right now. We could just inhale and have our hands cupped up like this and exhale like we're blowing out the candle. We'll do that a couple times. Symbolic, practical exhalation. 3 to 5 times. You could even say inhale in your mind, go mentally on the exhale. And we'll address this at the different levels, of course, the physical, the mental, and the emotional levels. So I will come back to the mat. Okay. And if you do have a bolster, what's great about, well, it's following me, is to have support, or you can have a rolled up blanket underneath your back. And go ahead and, and we can be supported in our letting go. So any of the restorative practices are going to be very helpful in the art of letting go. So having your spine supported, you can put a blanket for your head, and we're going to go into a tensing and relaxing, because that's very helpful to let go. So we'll inhale and tense flex back the feet and the calves and the legs, tense, 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 feel that energy. And then a double breath, softening. Let's do this 2 times in the lower body. Inhale, double breath. Tense, tense, tense. And then exhale. And then in the limbs of the arms, making fists with the hands, tensing the torso as well. Inhale, double breath. The legs might get involved naturally, that's fine. Tense, 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 tense. And then do that again, double breath, finger from the neck down. Sensing, sensing, vibrating with energy. And then releasing. Now stay on your bolster. I'm just going to sit up. And now add the face. Go ahead and tense the body and scrunch up the muscles of the face. Tense, 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 tense. And then double breath. Exhale. Release. Right. Easing your head from side to side. Just like we sometimes do a regular Shavasana. On the physical level, as you're releasing and relaxing, in terms of Aparigraha, it's we want to just get very pragmatic here of what it is. Do things, that classic statement, do things own us or do we own them? So how much do we really need is part of the inquiry of what is enough, what is it that bridges you see into contentment, into peace. You may not necessarily be a minimalist, but that idea of, are we accumulating too much on the physical level? And it could be simple as cleaning out your closet and giving away and increasing that generosity to others, getting that hoarding, letting go, literally letting go and giving to others, be a goodwill or a friend, etc. And that always feels so great. So what is enough bridges into contentment, which brings into that quality of peace, correct? And then on the emotional level, we're going to do some, the asana practice will be focused on some hip work, because in the hips, we hold a lot, we can hold a lot of feelings, especially the tough ones, resentment, anger, there could be some sludge around the heart as well. So we'll do some back bends with this. So as we transition into gentle movement now, bring the soles of your feet together, Supta Baddha Konasana. Place your hands at the tops of the thighs and draw the knees, the thighs away from you. And just kind of shimmy, shake a little bit, opening up the hips, opening up the belly, opening up the heart. You can even massage the belly. That's a great way of letting go, literally. And then maybe one hand on one shoulder, massaging the shoulder, the tension there. Length and releasing on the other side. And just taking your hand on your heart and breathing, full yogic breath here. So we're doing our centering breath, not a lot of movement in the beginning on purpose. Full yogic breath, belly, heart, crown connected, crown, heart, belly, feet. And as you're full yogic breathing, I want you to tune in and see, for many of us, I'm going to say most likely can be resentment, anger, frustrations, and just start to identify, who is it for you? It's very common to have that within family members because that's our inner core, but it could be others or one other. And just notice if anybody comes up when you're thinking of, what am I holding here in terms of on the emotional level? And of course, the antidote is forgiveness or loving kindness practices to allow ourselves to, because we're poisoned by that, right? We're poisoned by that when we think about that person or the situation. Practices that we're changing those patterns in our consciousness to release the resentment or the anger or whatever it is. So just tune in and know that you get some of that. You may want to do a forgiveness meditation about the letting that the person that's harmed you, that you're doing your best you can to send forgiveness and compassion through your own ignorance, confusion, pain, and that you're also working on forgiving yourself for any harm you may have caused through our own confusion, ignorance, and sending yourself forgiveness and releasing yourself from harm. So both to them and for yourself. And I'll get into that. We've done this before, but we're just like tapping in and tasting it now, and perhaps we'll go into a longer practice later. All right, so that's just a bullet point on the emotional level. Now we're going to start to draw our knees in, and yoga tends to do a lot of external rotation on the hips, not so much internal rotation. So this is a good one for internal rotation. You can still be on the bolster, or you come onto your back. Draw one knee down, that windshield wiper effect. Arms can come out to the side. Letting go breath with the exhale. And then just gently, when the knees go to one side, the head goes to the opposite. Heart open, so hips, belly, heart. These are very connected, of course, in our emotional holding, but our emotional releasing happens a lot in these areas, and the throat as well. So these are the things, holding on, of course, that holds us back from joy, from peace. They block that energy of joy. And then one more time, each side windshield wiper effect. So that joy, that deep upwelling from within. Which is different. Before we get up, when I looked it up on dictionary.com, they said the definition of joy is emotion of great delight caused by something exceptionally good or satisfying. So psychology sometimes uses this too to distinguish happiness from joy, that it's external, the person, something outside of ourselves. Where yoga is different, it's saying it's from within us that we cultivate those feelings. So, both are happening, right? Bring on the happiness, bring on, the ways we can, absolutely. But yoga is saying it's really the inside job, cultivating joy, kind of like cultivating gratitude. All right, let's get into some more flow. So we did more of a restorative there. I'm a fan of a blanket for your knees. Well, actually, before we get up, let's do a seated, since we're on the ground, we kind of take it, I hope it's okay, slow today. Jani Shirshasana, let's have, and then we will come up on the knees. So that's where the blanket comes in, into our side stretch and creating space. So right knee is bent, right hand above the right knee, twisting toward that left leg, peel the toes back. Inhale, let the heart lift up, the arms lift up, and then hinging forward. Use a strap if you'd like. Really stretching through the hamstring, lifting through the heart, a couple breaths here. And then folding. Think of that more letting go with the upper body. Such a big, it's naturally in every pose and every movement in yoga. Releasing it, holding the fear, back of the knee. Just tuning into the sound of your breath. I can continue that process of what you can let go of. Is there any person? Usually there's a theme that plays along. Inhaling, looking toward the toes, sweeping the arms up, twisting toward that bent knee. And now here we're gonna really open into spaciousness. So we come onto the knee, the right hand is pressing down. So this one is called the knee down gate pose. So your arm could be here, or your arm can be fully extended out to the side. The main thing is just to get some space going on. Rotate the torso, energize through the side body. Waves of joy surge up my spine. This is the affirmation. Waves of joy surge up my spine. That sparkly energetic of joy, which to me feels different than that calmer peace. Waves of joy. It's like a smile turns on, joy. Surge up my spine. Okay, and then here we sweep the arm down. And before we do the whole deal to the other side, I'm going to sit down again, but do more of a classic side stretch. So we're bringing our left hand inside that knee, the right arm up and over. Again, opening the heart as much as it can for the sky. You don't have to touch. That might compress you down more. See how that might come down more. More important to open and create space. And let these ribs smile. The right side. As we contemplate joy, what does joy mean to you? Inhale, coming up. And then we're twisting, looking over our right shoulder. And then coming into our center before we go to the other side. Full yogic breath at your pace and timing. Belly expands, heart expands, lengthen through the crown. If you like, palms open. Exhale, letting go. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. It is a skill, it is a practice, it is an art of letting go. I'm sure you've heard it many times, is the releasing the things that no longer serve us. Now, that is a practice too. So let's extend to the right leg. Left knee bends, take the left hand, twisting toward that outstretched leg, and have your strap if you like. Inhaling, stretching up, and hinging forward. Take your time here and let the heart lift. Notice what's happening on this side. As you breathe in and breathe out. And then exhaling, folding over that leg. We're still stretching through the hamstring, of course, but releasing the upper back, but more importantly, the third part, the mind, okay? Relaxing the mind, the overthinking mind. Stay with it. And I've wrote a lot of notes this week because I wanted to touch on these points. Mentally, in psychology, we work a lot on choosing the narrative, that we intentionally take an action with our thoughts. So it's not just a passive feeling with our mind. We intentionally take action when we notice stories that we tell ourselves that create painful inner states, okay? And we notice those, inhale coming up, and we work on creating the power of the mind to rewire to create more inner states in the mind conducive to joy. That doesn't mean we erase what happens or we forget. We are choosing to level up, choosing not to take the poison. So we're going to inhale, we're going to release up, and the left hand is down, the right arm is up. You can be here, the feeling of space and joy. And when we do that in our mind, right, we're able to feel the joy more. Waves of joy surge up my spine. Waves of joy surge up my spine. And then we slowly come down. So we're recreating mentally the state in our mind by intention and action, by recreating that narrative. Let's go to the side body. Stretching through the side. And this is another quote from Yogananda. Joy is a state of mind and an orientation of the heart. So both a state of mind and an orientation of the heart. And of course, this all leads us to what yoga, union with our state of mind, our right orientation of the heart, we can much more feel that divine within us as a connection, orientation. We call that God, Goddess, higher self, meditation. Inhale, coming up. I hope this is making sense. As we twist to the other side. So each of these physically, mentally, emotional could unpack in lots of ways. Again, I'm just giving the bullet points. Orientation. And then you discover your self-discovery links those all up. Let's bring the other foot in front. Take another full yogic breath if you like that letting go. Inhaling. Like you're holding a chalice or a candle, and then you blow out the candle with the pursed lips on the exhale. And Aparigraha, non-greed, non-grasping, non-attachment. All right. Down the knees in, our wonderful full body flow from cat to down dog. Getting a blanket there underneath the knees. Turn on this way. So that's a nice seated way. We started out, I hope. Shifting the hips side to side. Lifting over one shoulder, then it's opposite. And we'll do our opening the 4 points of the hands as we scoop out the low, mid, upper back, eye gaze up. And then exhale, round a cat. You can ease back towards your heels if you want. And then inhale, scoop it out. And let's make sure we take it to neutral spine, draw the navel in, lift off of the knees and magnetize the heart toward the thighs as you tread out the heels. Now here's that calmness. Now there's another distinction, stay with it, in the yogi qualities of the divine, there's calmness and then peace. So there's an even more subtle, to me, distinction between calmness and peace. And you can either choose in your affirmation any of the qualities, but you can bring in inner peace, radiates through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. So inquire, this is another thing we could share. What to you is the difference between, do you even feel there's a difference between calmness and peace? Maybe it would be common to lump those both together. But they are subtly different, or maybe not so subtly in inquiry. All right, from down dog, full body stretch. We're gonna take it into a more classic sun salute. Draw the inner borders of the feet together. Lift that right leg up for a moment if possible. And then giant step, knee to the chest, the right foot between the hands. Take your time, use blocks if you'd like. And like we like to do, pulse up on the inhale, belly high head. And like we did it just a moment ago, rounding. Now the difference this time is we're going to come down onto our knee, onto that blanket, and do a knee down lunge. Okay. And my right knee's in front of me. Just turn so you can see maybe a little bit better. Sure. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, and then exhale. Elbows come down. So here we are in an expansive opening all the chakras. So every time we do yoga, breath work, we're opening the chakras in the right alignment, are tuning our will to the source of all power. One more time. Now notice the difference as we come down, coming down, maybe shifting off that knee a little bit, making sure we're on top of the knee, and shimmy shaking the hips side to side. And this is where we can roll onto that little toe side of the foot, a little bit of a taste of the pigeon with the hips, that hip opener, right? Emotional sludge moving through. That gets collected. Joy is a state of mind and orientation of the heart. See if that vibrates with you as a one definition of joy. As I start looking into it, there's a lot of them out there, but we want to feel what's in here. All right, before we do the other side, we're going to come off of that back knee and add, and this is where it's nice to have a block or not, you decide, our twisting lunge. So we come off of the knee, we twist the torso, left corner of the abdomen to the right, and then if possible, we bring that arm up and those hips down. Dynamic, it's strong, twisting it out. Ooh, you know, the forgiveness, the loving kindness. Who would you like to send forgiveness or loving kindness practice to? Bring them to your mat. May you know peace and ease. May you know the beauty of the true nature. Okay, slowly come down. And we're going to flow through. So that right knee is forward. We're going to step it back to plank. Create that strong line of energy. Let's, if possible, do 2 push-ups. Sound of the breath. Come all the way down. You can knee, chest, chin it. Bringing one forearm in front of you. Then the other, and then let's get into that massage of the scapula. Same, choosing the narrative. That's an intensive action, but we're going to rise up. We're going to rise up and inhale, and then lion's breath, shoulders down. Couple breaths here. Recharging the spine, aligning the chakras. And then we ripple down. We're going to add a little bit of a locust. This is going to be a flow. So the palms face down. We lift the upper body, recharging, strengthen. This actually strengthens the core. And then exhale, soften. But then completely relax, we're going to rise up again. And our Bhujangasana. Open through the throat chakra and all the chakras. One more time. Dribble down. If you want, more challenging to bring the arms out to the side, or they can be down by your side. Inhale, super person pose, locust salavasana, pulsing up. And now we relax, we melt. We bring one hand on top of the other, rest at the spiritual eye. Soften the shoulders. And we continue with that loving kindness for that person or persons. We just need to focus on one at a time, I find. Perhaps forgiveness of them, of yourself. Any harm that's been created, either consciously or unconsciously, with ignorance, pain, or confusion, with ourselves, we're working for forgiving others. The harm we may have caused us, or we may have caused them. All right, and as we do these practices, the joy that's within us gets to be felt and expressed. But it's hard when all that stuff's mucking it up, right? All right, back to down dog. Turn around. And we forward back, we bring the chest toward the thighs, we tread it out. And here we go, maybe rippling if you want, or staying in down dog. Calmness or peace, notice what that distinction is for you, radiates through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Okay, if you want, you don't have to bring the issue here, the left leg up, but if you choose, you can. Left leg comes up, dynamic, the left leg comes forward. Pulsing lunge, inhale, pulsing up, exhale, rounding, knee and face. Up. And then we come to our knee down lunge. So sit knees on the ground, you lift up. Okay, I'm gonna stay this way. I really get confused when I start turning around. Arms come up. And then exhale, like we're holding. Remember, you can always have those 3 to 5 pound weights if you want to add on. Heart opening, chest expansion, hip opening. I attune my will to the source of all power. So I see, as not only myself, others as the yogis develop this, that as we do our hatha yoga practices and we focus on the quality of letting go, even more deep, more profound. What holding on or resentment or anger on an emotional level you want to let go of. It's going to take some mental work as well. Okay. All right, now we bring our hands down. We roll, we bring that left arm in, we roll onto the little toe side of the foot, we shoot shake the hips. So for a lot of people, and to be honest, for myself, I'm a marriage family therapist, a lot of people, the irony of being with a partner, having a child together, having the relationship not work, the partnership not work. So there can be a tremendous amount of resentment that people carry for years after the separation. But then we want to remember, like, you know, whether it's a child or whatever you created together. I mean, what the gift of that union. We don't want to stay stuck in the pain body of it. I mean, and it can be very painful. I don't want to deny that. Let's have the twist. But we want to, the narrative would go something like this: as we twist the right, and you know, you work with it with yourself, or you work with it with a therapist or a friend. You twist, you bring that arm up, that I am consciously releasing any patterns of resentment toward this person. You fill in the blank. And then you add in the gift they've given you. So for people that have a child, they've given me my kid, my gosh, or they've given me whatever you created together, whatever the gift is. And the heart just naturally, we don't want to stop at the negative. We want to acknowledge it and then put in the amazing gift that was created through this, probably, you know, not easy experience of loss or separation, etc. Okay, that's how you work with it mentally. That's again the next step. Okay, bullet point. Make sure you go higher in your narrative, in your mind, and then we allow ourselves to experience peace and joy, because it is the truth. We can't be us ourselves, right? As we ease from side to side, we're going to do a flow through here. Before we do that, contemplating and inquiring, is there a difference between calmness and peace? Calmness and peace radiates through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Okay, coming into plank. Creating that long, strong line of energy. Maybe adding 2 push-ups here. And coming down all the way into our extension of locus. So if it's okay for your shoulders to bring one arm in front and then the other, go ahead and do that. And we're going to lift the right arm, left leg, opposites. Soaring upward on wings of joy as we inhale and easing back. You feel that arm retracting back to the shoulder, the leg to the hip. Do that again. Right arm, left leg. Soaring upward on wings of joy. Easing down. Left hand, right leg. Inhale, pulse up. Charging and ease. And again, inhale, pulsing up, soaring up on wings of joy and ease. Before we rest completely, if possible, both arms, both legs, inhale, pulse it up, or by your side, or down by your side. And charge the wings of joy. There, and then resting. Resting at the spiritual eye. Staying with the higher truth of the narrative. And we know the mind does tend to go to the negative. That's why we want to work it. That's part of the joy process, right? The mind and the heart. All right, let's come up into one more Bhujangasana. Inhale, within every breath lies infinite power. And let's take ease in our wide prayer pose, knees apart, hands out in front. Really, you can probably really hear that oceanic sound of the breath. Taking rest, letting go. What can I let go of? Joy is a state of mind and orientation of the heart. Okay, let's go ahead and roll up. And while we're here, before we do some standing asana, I'll turn around this way. Have your block by your side. It's very helpful. We're gonna, well, actually, if you have two blocks, because we're going to maybe not stay in our camel. That's a deep back bend, as we know. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to bring one foot forward, the right foot forward, and block maybe upward here on the side. So the idea is that as we stretch our left arm up, it's going to come around and maybe hit the back of the thigh or maybe the block. And then the right arm comes up. Couple breaths here. Deep back bend. Deep hip opener. You feel those both. Then the spaciousness. We want to create space here. Letting go. We need to create space for the new, for the higher awareness, for the joy that's inside in the yoga philosophy to bubble up and through. Like cleaning a window or your car or something like that. Okay, and then we switch. We go switch. And get more clarity. Left foot comes forward, get stabilized, tailbone down, tuck it under, protect it as maybe that right arm comes around to the back of the thigh or the block. But then we reorient, yeah, it's a little tricky. Okay. And we reorient, hips facing forward. Big exhale through the throat. Deep opening to the hip, the heart. Opening again to the wings of joy. Not just cleansing the physical, we're cleansing the emotional, the mental body. So we return to our natural spiritual state that's already whole, already free, already has the joy kosha, already has joy within ourselves and our practices of many things, meditation, prayer, chanting, art, all kinds of things. You know what tunes you into your joy center. And then coming up. Woo. And let's do a rounded cat to counterbalance. Okay. Watch those blocks. Down, trip over myself. Exhale, rounded cat. And non-grasping. Non-grasping. There's so many layers to these yamas. On one layer, the non-grasping could be, how we're being in our asana. Sure, alignment. We're heading toward that alignment, but what typically happens is start to walk your hands toward your feet. One of the beauty of the online, there's so much yin and yang to all of this. A lot of times in classes, we can't help it, or we have said this many times, our brain does compare. And we look at other people, how are they doing it? What's going on there? Sometimes for orientation and sometimes a little bit more of an envy or comparison. And again, this would be grasping in yoga. This would be grasping for states. Maybe we direct ourselves toward that, but that envy, okay, of somebody's getting it farther or doing more, etc. So I just want to, be mindful of that. Soften the knees. I'm hoping we're at a place in our maturity that that's not, you know, so strong, but who knows? Have our developmental processes. Relax and cast aside any mental burdens. Let's go ahead and massage the scalp. So we started out massaging the belly and our restorative pose, support, or in letting go. And we do need support in letting go. That's another thing that has helped. Really important, support and letting go. We can do certain things on our own, but other things we need help with. And that's, of course, the beauty of a class to help us. Okay, bending the knees. And reaching back in Uttasana, our chair pose. Inhale, sweeping up, moving down. Make sure you tuck the tailbone slightly under so we're not over scooping there. And then rising up. Down the space all around. As we move down into our mountain pose. If you want to swirl it first, have some flow. Right. All right. Yeah, as in the garden, the sun's really streaming down. I'd be lost in the shadow. Okay, so back to our palms open, thumb index fingers together. That's what we're doing, yoga union. Joy, God, Goddess, higher self. The union with the personal self, with the individual self. Be open to it. Okay, we're gonna do a goddess flow. So I'm gonna move the blanket out to the side. Do a deep squat. We're gonna step our feet pretty wide apart. The toes are facing out to the sides, not in. Tailbones drawn down. We're sitting in a squat. Pulsing a little bit. We're gonna add a twisted variation of the goddess pose first, and then we're gonna add our eagle arms. Okay, so we come down. We look over our left shoulder, extending that right arm. Really empty out in the belly, really draw the navel to the spine. Inhale, we come back. Pulse a little bit more. This is available to you. And then go to the other side. Looking over the right shoulder, extending that left arm. What can we let go of? Yeah. And then coming back. And not grasping, non-attachment. Okay, arms out to the side. Now, this may or may not be possible for you, so I'll show you a variation. The right elbow on the bottom of the left. If that's too much, you hold on to your shoulders. Still with that right elbow on the bottom of the left. Then we root down, pulse down, and we try to swirl around. We try to bring the tips of the elbows toward one knee, they don't touch, and then to the other. On the exhale, we circle around 3 times. Oh, let's do 4 because it took a while to get into this, right? 3 to 5 breaths will give us a benefit. I'm going to be posing vinyasa. Then we open up that heart, that eagle wingspan, opening star pose. And then the left elbow on the bottom or open onto the shoulders. Pulse it up, but the elbows will go in the opposite direction with that circle. So we squat down and we circle around 3 to 4 times. Really enjoying the sound. And perhaps the flow of movement. It's a bind. There's so much metaphor here. There's, these things bind us from our joy by grasping, by greed, by hoarding, by not letting go. Aparigraha is all the greed, the grasping, the eight is letting go, is releasing that. All right, one more standing pose before we hit the floor. Let's do Virabhadrasana 2. Since we're wide open like this, turn your left foot out to the side, the right foot in. Warrior pose. Tracking your left knee over that second toe, rotating this right foot in, shoulders, hips aligned. Open the heart. Bring the palms up. Notice the difference. As I joyfully, notice how much joy is mentioned in these affirmations. I joyfully open to the power of the divine. I'm joyfully open to the power of the divine. You can look at your left hand if you want, if that doesn't throw you off. One more time. I'm joyfully open to the power of the divine. And then sweeping the arm open, creating more space, rooting and space combined. And then we stretch it out and we turn. Before we go to the other side, hands to the heart, opening it up. Feel the space all around, bring another person or others in as well. If you're working still on the letting go, keep with that. Forgiveness, loving kindness. The affirmation here is I relax and cast aside any unnecessary mental burdens. Knuckles lift on the inhale, crown of the head toward the earth on the exhale. I mentally cast aside any unnecessary burdens. Hands release, bend the knees, and scoop it out. Come on. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 to the other side. The strength. And the love of the warrior, the intention, tracking that right knee over the second toe. Ooh. Strong through the left leg, watch without pouring over. I felt myself doing that. In this posture, shoulders, hips lined up. Okay, first palms down, root down. You can stay with the palms down if you like. Or you can feel the difference with the palms up. Inhale. I joyfully open to the power of the divine, looking over at that right hand. What is it? There could be journal prompts as well. What is it? What's a couple of things that, in line what I just said earlier, brings you joy? And then you may be able to discern what is it that brings you peace. Could be similar, could be different. For me, those are different when I think of things that bring me joy or bring me peace. Again, that sparkly feeling to that more rooted contentment feeling. Opening up. And we can access those both internally and externally. It's not, I know the one says the other is more strong, but we can do both as we shift and then step it back. One more down dog before we come onto our back. Flowing side to side. Calmness, peace, radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Okay. And let's come down onto our knees, transitioning gradually, not right away. We want to do that boat pose. So much is core work as we do the poses, but certain ones really get in there. So we're going to come onto our sit bones. We're going to rest the heart. Feel that I feel the heart racing more. We're going to extend one leg, then the other in V, or you can have that foot down, whatever works for you. Palms face one another. Exhale through the mouth. Within every breath lies infinite power. So gratitude, of course, for the breath, health, power of the heart to love, forgive, accept, let go. That's a lot. I mean, usually you've heard the 3 gratitudes a day, in the morning, at night, but once you go started, it could roll like that. All right, heart lifts, and then we place our hands on our knees, tuck the tailbone under, shimmy, shake down. A couple of core strengthening before I do our release twist. Inhale, arms up. Feel the space all around. Hug those knees in. Body, breath, technology. We're bringing this together. And the divine. Much higher that we wouldn't be here. So we're going to do a little bit of the opposite core work. Knees in line with the hips, flex back through the toes, plug in the low back, opposite arm, opposite leg. Exhale. Inhale, and then switch, exhale. Keep the focus on the movement and the breath. Maybe one more round here. Okay, hug those knees in, and we bring the knees apart, and the borders of the feet together, knees apart, then together. Again, a lot of hip releases today. Because a lot of holding goes on there. From our entire history, or within our autobiography, but we can let it go. And we can draw that right knee in. Rotate the ankle. We started out with a simple windshield wiper rotation. Now we'll go into a more classic lying down twist, planting the right foot down, swiveling the hips to the side, we create more space. As the opposite hand comes and pulses back and forth between the knee and shoulder, knee and shoulder. I'm going to place my foot on the sand in Hawaii. Feels so good. Hey, that brings joy, right? Feet in the sand, or to me, I should say. Open the heart, draw that thigh away from you. Oh, yes. Then sweeping the arm up and over if you choose. Divine life is within me and all around me. And Paramahansa Yogananda says that divine life is joy. Joy is divine life, the awareness of the divine. In whatever way, whatever practice is, attune you back to that truth within. All right. Whoa, comes off this hand. But there's another practice. This is I like this one when I remember to do it. when we are in that joy moment, you want to exaggerate. You want to like, almost tense into it, like expand it, like the maybe it's, maybe it's walking in the grass, maybe it's at the ocean, but you supercharge it, you mentally snapshot it, you memorize it, if you will. And then as you exhale, releasing your hands down and that leg down. And then you can draw up that memory of joy and another phase of our daily existence, and that can recapture that feeling. So that would be using, neuroscience, that memory to bring back the state of joy, and it works. Draw the inner borders of the feet together, left knee bends, rotate the left foot a few times. All right, planting the left foot down, swiveling to the side. As I was rotating my left foot, I think this is pertinent as we twist side to side. This happened yesterday. I was starting my taxes. And I didn't even, this never happened to me before. Usually when my foot falls asleep, you get that tingling. Well, I didn't feel the tingling. I didn't even know it was asleep. So I went to get up and I torqued my ankle, like it twisted, it cracked, it like I fell, it was like intense. I was like, whoa, okay, rotate the right toes up, open the heart. And the point of this story, it hurt and it has some repercussions, but what it's doing, so here's, the negative of the positive, and this is a lighter example right now. Divine light flows in me and is all around me. It's literally forcing me to slow down with every step I take. Because it hurts. But I'm looking at the presence that I have to slow down, especially the steps, for right now, we'll just have to mystery. I hope it's a quick thing, but we'll see what happens. But here's the, little tweaks in our lives that can have a gift of slowing down, of literally, it's on every step you take, every breath you, every step, every breath. I breathe in calmness and exhale peace. Forcing me to slow down. Divine life is within me and all around me. And then when you're complete, bend the knee, plant that foot down, adjust onto the spine, draw the knee in, take the ankle, and extend the leg, reach the arms up, plug in the shoulders, and simultaneously stretch those arms up above you. So it's not like joy, 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 it's all happy and wonderful, right? I mean, there's aspects of that, but are things that aren't going so well. How can we learn from that? What is the gift there? Letting go. We want to support it in our shavasana, a supported letting go. So it really helps to get the support of a bolster or a blanket, and any way you like for shavasana. If you want to do one last pose, you certainly always free to do that. Get into that cocoon, like stay with the warm blanket, eye bag, and move across and help you. As we get more comfortable, I'd like to add that self-massage to the practices. That works depending on what form you're taking here. Okay, so as we started first, so before we do self-massage, remember that double breath? So you could be in open star pose, Shavasana, whatever feels good to you. We're going to short line inhale, and this time tense the whole body. Make a fist with your hands, flex through your feet, scrunch up your face, tense, 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 tense. And then exhale, double breath, letting go. Do that one more time. Inhale, that's where we're holding on, we're literally grasping, we're tensing, we're exaggerating the tension. And then we let go. And we exaggerate a moment of feeling good, a moment of joy. Again, what would that be? What is it for you when you last felt that? Bring that into your mind, into your body, into your awareness. And if it feels right, if you want to do some self-massage, rubbing the scalp, one or both hands, literally letting go in the brain. And the nourishment of compassionate touch. Stroke the face if you'd like, letting the eyes deeply relax, the forehead, muscles around the eyes, cheeks. You get into the jaw, the upper and lower mandible there where they connect. There's a tension there, massaging there. Releasing the holding. So literally letting go, physically letting go. And maybe stroking along the neck. Maybe the shoulders. Maybe my heart, gently massaging around the heart. If you want, with one arm, or maybe when you're stroking them, one arm and the other. Releasing from the shoulders down, the elbows, the wrists, palms of the hands, digits of the fingers. And just resting the palms now, resting the hands. And breathing into the heart. And seeing, sensing and feeling. If you'd like to bring in that loving kindness practice, first to yourself, may I be filled with loving kindness, may I be blessed, may I know peace, ease, and joy, and may I know the beauty of my true nature. And you can bring in another person, someone who could be easy to love, or someone that has been more challenging for you in this lifetime. May they be filled with loving kindness. May they be blessed. May they find peace, ease, and joy. And may they know the beauty of their true nature. Feel your back body, if you're lying on your back, getting heavy, whatever is touching the earth, let that area get more heavy. The other area that's not touching the earth, more light. Breathing deep into the belly, low back, ribs. Perhaps truly, deeply gratitude for what your body can do and whatever the glitches are. See if there could be some kind of strength in that, or awareness of that that's perhaps helping you. I'm traveling down to the lower limbs, the thighs, the knees, the calf, the ankles, left and right, all the way through to the soles of the feet, digits of the toes. Relax gently. Letting go. As we let go, more and more levels in physical, mental, emotional, we can return to the sanctuary within, already whole, already free, already in. Resting in that awareness. And like bubbles, letting it bubble through all the cells of the body. And if it's time for you to transition and movement, you're welcome to do that. Just letting you know if you have a time constraint, it's 11:46. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to stay in Shavasana longer. You know, we could send healing to others, either upright or lying down. It's the intention that's important. And visualizing those people, those persons you would like to send healing energy to. As you know, sometimes it's hard to work on the dialogue with others, and this is another way we can dialogue with them for these, for healing, visualizing them at the spiritual eye, and rubbing hands together, placing them over your heart, whatever feels right to you, as we do the grace of their own sound. And coming up, just do so in a comfortable, gradual way. Inhaling from the belly to the heart. And bringing the hands in namaste, bowing to the wisdom of your heart, knowing that in this consciousness, this is where we are one. Namaste to everyone. I'm going to turn off the recording here and then we'll decide, of course, if